This is Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We are joined today by Jacqui Irwin. She is a member of the California State Assembly, representing significant portions of Ventura County and a little bit of LA County.
And a little bit
Just
of
a
LA.
little bit.
Yes.
I want to talk about Cal State University at Channel Islands. I was there recently for a
right.
soccer game for my daughter. What a beautiful campus.
Oh.
Absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely.
And there's some great news with regard to CSUCI.
Yeah, we were very excited a few weeks ago. We were able to announce the opening of an engineering school at Channel Islands. And the reason this is significant is because we have no engineering programs in Ventura County.
Really?
And we have a lot of demand for engineers, especially with the military base there and all the high tech we have. So the president did a survey, talked to a lot of different companies, and looked at what was needed for our community. And they are going to be starting a mechatronics program next year. And the military base is ready to suck up all those young engineers. For us, it's really important because they're having such a problem filling those engineering positions to have some homegrown engineers. And
how does that work in terms of adding a school? Do you need to work with Chancellor Tim White of the CSU system? Do you need to work with local enterprise? Do you know?
I'm not sure how that all
Fair enough.
happened, but certainly we spoke to the chancellor. This was
Right.
really driven by the community and Dr. Dick Rush and the faculty. Everybody has to. We see what the need is of the community, and then the faculty has to approve this as their next major. And all I hear is excitement about this because we have a lot of STEM going on in the county, especially in the Oxnard area. We've had a lot of pathways grants trying to get young kids excited about STEM, and so to have Channel Islands right nearby opening up is really exciting. The other thing that's important about Channel Islands, it is a Hispanic serving institution, and it is predominantly female. I think they're at 65% or so female. So to be able to expose these underrepresented groups to STEM is critical if we want to look at how do we start to lower the gap, the salary gap of these groups. And it's just a lot of exciting things going on in those areas.
The challenge, though, is that some students who are starting at community college are finding that they are not ready for college-level courses. There are 3 fine community colleges in Ventura County: Oxnard, Moore Park, and Ventura. Presumably, Channel Islands is a great potential for them. But they can get trapped because they're just not ready. As I understand it, you and your colleagues worked on legislation to try to bridge that gap for students who need that remediation in community college. Tell us about it.
Yeah, this was very exciting. I was able to get a $60 million budget allocation to revamp remedial education at the community colleges. And this is not just a, hey, let's try this solution. It was a program that was piloted and very, very successful at a number of community colleges in getting students through community college much more quickly. And what we see is a lot of kids start and then end up dropping out. So it is a total waste of human capital. It's a total waste of taxpayer dollars when this happens. So each of the community colleges in Ventura County received a $1.5 million grant, and we are going to continue to follow the money and make sure that all these programs are having the outcomes that they should, because this was really an unacceptable situation.
As you know, Proposition 30 is set to expire, at least the sales tax portion of it. Part of Prop 30 funded K-12 and 13 and 14. And so even though we are facing an improving economy, I'm wondering, are you and your colleagues looking at the question of community college funding as we march forward?
Well, certainly we've seen great funding. I mean, to be in the Assembly this last 2-year session has been great because we've tackled a lot of debt issues and put money in the rainy day fund. And schools have been very, very well funded. So it's going to be ultimately up to the voters if they want to continue that funding. certainly I personally will be voting for it, but it is, I think the taxpayers do need to know that this is not the overall solution. They will be relying on a very volatile money source, and I think we really need to look at overall tax reform to make sure that education doesn't have to deal with these ups and downs. And this Prop 30 money, we have to acknowledge that it is a volatile source of funding.
I have been a victim of identity theft. It is one of the most violative crimes you can imagine because you can't touch it. I've been mugged. That I was able to get over because it happened and it was over. When I was a victim of identity theft, it's still with me because I didn't know what to do. What's amazing to me, Assemblywoman, is that not only are adults being victimized by identity theft, but children are being victimized. And you became aware of that, and you carry legislation which was signed. Yes. Tell us about that.
I co-authored legislation with Mike Otto, and this was based on a New York Times article that showed statistically children's Social Security numbers are much more likely to be abused than adult Social Security numbers. And the reason is because parents really wouldn't know about it for 18 years.
Truly.
And so what we have are stories about children that are applying for financial aid for college for the first time, and they find out that their credit is completely ruined. So we were very excited that this was signed by the governor, and it would basically allow parents to put a credit freeze at all three agencies on their children's Social Security number. So
I can do that right now?
For your children.
I need to do that. I didn't know about that.
We probably have to wait till January 1st.
That's okay, I'll wait. I'm good with that.
But I think this is important for all parents to know, because this is really something that's protecting their children's future. If you are going through the financial aid process and you can't fix your credit, we've heard stories about people having to start college late because of this. Identity theft is a huge issue. So, and we're, that all goes into the whole cyber area, that people need to do everything they can to protect their private information. Don't give your Social Security number out. Use a good password. Use an email service with two-step authentication. We always, as we're working on these big cyber issues, I found out statistically that 80% of breaches at companies are caused by employees clicking on phishing emails. So, we need to educate the public that they are all responsible for protecting their personal information and being educated on what steps they need to take.
What does it mean to freeze a Social Security number? Help me out.
It just means that the credit agencies, when, let's say, Macy's gets an application
for my 14-year-old.
Right. And generally that would have been open before. So now they call the credit reporting agency, and they wouldn't be able to open a credit card account.
So assuming you return to Sacramento, what do you plan to do next year?
Well,
do you know yet?
No, we're looking at a lot of different legislation, but I think the thing that we've really been missing out on is oversight. So we have a lot of members that are here. We'll have a little bit more time to look at that and make sure that government is functioning the way it should. I've held a number of oversight hearings in the last couple of years, and I think there's a lot more to do in cybersecurity, making sure that the state is prepared for these inevitable attacks, to make sure that the state is resilient. I'm currently sitting on I'm currently the chair of the National Conference of State Legislatures on the Cybersecurity Task Force, and we are trying to come up with best practices for state legislatures. So there's a lot of work to be done in that area.
We'll talk about that when you come back. She is Jacqui Irwin, member of the California State Assembly. I'm Brad Pomerance. It's Local Edition.